Imagine a prophet who saw flying creatures with four faces, wheels within wheels blazing with fire, and a valley of dry bones rattling to life. Ezekiel witnessed these astonishing visions. Hey there! If these Bible stories are helping you grow in God's Word, please like, comment, and share. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a new summary. Let's keep spreading the word, one story at a time. God bless you. Now let's continue. This is a story about Ezekiel, a priest exiled to Babylon with King Jehoiakim. By the Kebar River, 5 years into the exile, the heavens opened. Ezekiel saw a terrifying vision. 4 living creatures with human, lion, ox, and eagle faces, each with 4 wings and straight legs ending in calf's hooves. Beside each creature was a wheel sparkling like topaz, a yole intersecting another wheel, moving in any direction without turning, full of eyes. Above them stretched a vault like crystal, and above the vault was a throne of lapis lazuli. Upon the throne sat a figure like glowing metal, surrounded by brilliant light. Ezekiel fell face down. The Spirit entered him, and the voice of the Lord commissioned him as a watchman to rebellious Israel. God instructed him to eat a scroll covered with lamentations, which tasted sweet as honey, filling him with God's words. He was told his message would be rejected, but he must speak God's truth regardless. God warned him not to fear the people. Ezekiel enacted symbolic signs. He drew Jerusalem on a clay tablet and laid siege to it, lying on his left side for 390 days, representing Israel's years of sin, then on his right side for 40 days, representing Judah's sin. He ate bread baked over dung, signifying the defiled bread Jerusalem would eat during siege. He shaved his head and beard, burning a third in the city, striking a third with a sword, scattering a third to the wind, with only a few hairs tucked away, showing Jerusalem's fate. Plague, famine, sword, and exile, with a remnant preserved. God commanded Ezekiel to prophesy against the mountains of Israel, denouncing their idolatry and declaring judgment. He saw visions of detestable idol worship happening right in the Jerusalem temple itself, including the image of jealousy at the north gate and women weeping for Tammuz. He saw 25 men, including Jazaniah and Pelatiah, worshiping the sun in the temple courts. God declared he would show no pity, executing fierce judgment. The glory of the Lord, which Ezekiel had seen by the Kebar, began to depart from the temple threshold. Cherubim appeared, identical to those in his first vision, with wheels beside them. The glory of the Lord moved to the temple's east gate, then lifted from the city to rest on the mountain east of Jerusalem. Ezekiel, he pronounced woes on Jerusalem's leaders, calling them shepherds who only fed themselves while neglecting and scattering the flock. God declared he himself would search for his sheep, rescue them from exile, and be their true shepherd. He pronounced judgment on the mountains of Edom Seir for their ancient hatred and gloating over Judah's fall. Oracles followed against Ammon, Moab, Philistia, Tyre, Sidon, and Egypt, detailing their arrogance, violence, and treachery, promising God's retribution. News reached the exiles that Jerusalem had fallen. God confirmed this to Ezekiel, silencing the prophet's dumbness that had lasted 7 years. Ezekiel spoke a lament for the princes of Israel. God rebuked the shepherds of Israel for their selfishness and neglect, promising to gather his scattered sheep, judge between them, and appoint one shepherd, his servant David, over them. He promised a covenant of peace, safety from wild beasts, and fruitful land. God declared he would vindicate his holy name, profaned among the nations because of Israel's exile. He promised to gather them from the nations, cleanse them from idolatry, give them a new heart of flesh to replace their heart of stone, and put his spirit within them, enabling obedience. They would dwell securely in their own land. The hand of the Lord brought Ezekiel to a valley full of dry bones. God asked if these bones could live. Ezekiel replied only God knew. God commanded him to prophesy to the bones. As Ezekiel prophesied, a rattling sound arose, bones came together, tendons and flesh appeared, skin covered them. God commanded him to prophesy to the breath. Breath entered them, and they stood up, a vast army. God explained the bones represented Israel, feeling cut off, but he would open their graves, bring them back to their land, and put his spirit in them. God directed Ezekiel to take 2 sticks, inscribing one for Judah and the other for Joseph. He joined them into one stick, symbolizing God reuniting Israel and Judah into one nation under one king, David, forever, establishing an everlasting covenant of peace with them, his sanctuary among them forever. Ezekiel received a detailed vision of a new magnificent temple complex. An angelic guide measured every part. Ezekiel saw the glory of the Lord return from the east, filling the temple. The guide explained the temple's laws, the duties of the priests, the prince's role, and regulations for offerings and festivals. Water flowed from beneath the temple threshold, eastward. The guide measured the stream. It grew deeper as it flowed. Where it flowed into the Dead Sea, the salt water became fresh, teeming with fish. Trees grew along both banks, bearing fruit monthly with healing leaves. The land was divided among the tribes, with a special sacred portion for the Lord, including land for the priests, the Levites, the city, and the prince. The city was named, "The Lord is there." Ezekiel's visions reveal God's unwavering holiness, his righteous judgment against persistent sin, and his profound commitment to restoration. Despite Israel's utter failure, defiling his name among the nations, God acted not for their sake, but for the sake of his holy name. His judgment purified, and his promise of a new heart and spirit offered transformation from within. The Valley of Dry Bones powerfully declares that no situation is beyond God's life-giving power. The return of God's glory to the temple and the river of life flowing from it point towards ultimate renewal, foreshadowing the New Jerusalem, where God dwells eternally with his redeemed people. Ezekiel calls us to recognize God's supreme sovereignty, acknowledge our own rebellion, and embrace his promise of cleansing and renewal through the Spirit. It reminds us that God's purposes for his glory and his people as ultimate good will triumph, urging faithfulness and hope rooted in his character. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this summary, please hit that like button and leave us a comment on where you are watching us from.